Yes, welcome to a very special episode of the Mahogany Stylez experience. Welcome to my corner pocket of the universe. This is where we talk everything from health, wealth, issues of current events, hip hop culture, hip hop news. I've got a very special show for you guys today, and I'm super excited about my guests joining us. Let's get into it. Let's join the conversation and let's roll to get started. This is it. Stop all the press. Your girl has some shit to say. Some of you may know me as Mahogany Stylez, the rapper, Mahogany Stylez, the boss, but this is Mahogany Stylez, the voice behind it all. I'm bearing it all, speaking my truth, whether who like it or not. I'm the princess of hip hop, raw and uncut and unfiltered. It's time to get vulnerable. It's time to get disruptive. It's time to connect. This is the Mahogany Stylez experience. I'm living it up. Either you hating, or faking, or grinding with us. Yes, welcome back to the Mahogany Stylez experience. It is me, your girl, the princess of hip hop, Mahogany Stylez. And I am super excited because we have a very, very powerful episode here today. This is a special episode, not a part of any of the ongoing series that I've been doing thus far to date. But in the sign of the times and in the wake of the global pandemic upon us, 2020 has been quite an interesting year for our adults, for our elderly, for our middle-aged. But particularly, this has been a very interesting time for our youth and our young people. A lot of changes going on and a lot of adjustments that our young people have had to do in order to be able to assimilate, stay healthy, stay safe. And so this has triggered and resonated something in me that's, I feel like a lot of conversation hasn't been spoken on, and we haven't had a lot of discussions as much as I would have liked to see. And thus that has brought me to bring us to the conversation today. Today, we are talking right here on the Mahogany Stylez experience. We are talking about the impact of coronavirus on our youth. And I have some very special guests joining us today. We have joining us today on today's episode, Educator, Youth Program Facilitator, Jasmine Bourdeau, who will be joining us here on the live stream momentarily. We also have two very, very special guests also joining us as well. We've got Dr. Jillian Whatley, who is the author of the book, Letters to Our Daughters. She is a psychologist and a woman with a lot of insights. And then also joining alongside with Dr. Jillian Whatley is a very, very special little girl. We have, we have Kanuri, Elise, Fowler-Yikealo joining us, who is a child author. She co-authored the book, Awesome Girl Book. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about Awesome Girl Book. So she'll be joining our live stream alongside Dr. Jillian Whatley today. Before I introduce our special guest, I've got so much tea and so much announcements to share with you guys. There is a lot going on in the world of Mahogany Stylez. So throughout our conversation today, I will be dropping updates related to my brand and according to what's going on. So throughout the live stream, you guys can stay updated and in tune to everything that's Mahogany Stylez. And with that being said, I just want to definitely absolutely thank everyone who's been subscribing. Thank you to everyone who's been getting excited about the Mahogany Stylez experience. We've turned up, I think I've got 10 brand new subscribers as of this week. So that means we are catching the wave. People are catching on to everything that is dope about the Mahogany Stylez experience. So thank you, kudos, and shout out to all of you guys for subscribing, liking, and supporting my YouTube channel. Continue to ring my bell and subscribe below. And just again, thank you for supporting the brand across the board. So I just wanted to open up today's episode of the Mahogany Stylez experience by thanking you guys so much for supporting the channel. If you would like to be a guest on my show, if you would like to sponsor a segment of the show or sponsor an entire episode, you've got the opportunity to do that. The information to be able to get in touch with me will be down at the bottom of the screen on the banner throughout the episode, but you guys can also send an email to the mahoganystyleexperience@gmail.com if you guys would like to be a guest of the show or sponsor a segment or an entire episode of this show. And that being said, I would love to get the conversation started today. I'm going to introduce again Educator, Youth Program Facilitator Jasmine Bourdeau-Stodghill, and also Dr. Jillian Whatley and Kanuri joining us as well. So welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Yes, it looks like everyone is here and joined and tuned in. How's everyone feeling today?
Feeling great, actually.
Yeah, very blessed.
How's everyone doing today? Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us. This is a needed topic.
Great. I'm so glad that you guys just mentioned that. Like I kind of just said at the beginning of the episode, I personally had a conversation surrounding the topic of the impact of coronavirus on our youth. And I recognize firsthand just by the impact on my own daughter, who's only 8 months old, and my nieces and my nephews who I've seen impacted. I've had family members and cousins who have had to graduate from high school in the midst of this global pandemic. And so I've only seen maybe a couple of news stories there, and I did research to prepare for today's episode. You know, there's not even a lot of information available on the website and on the internet. And so that was just extra confirmation that this was definitely a conversation that we needed to have. Jasmine, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you. If you can just give just a little bit of information to our about your background and your relationship to the education arena.
Okay, so I'm a career educator. I've been a 7th grade middle school English teacher for about five years. I graduated from NYU with a secondary degree in English education, and I currently work in Missouri as a reading specialist. So this past year, I did work with 7th grade students, and it has been interesting. I mean, we've been out of school since March, and doing online learning has actually been a struggle for a lot of us.
It's interesting for you, Jasmine, because this was already before the global pandemic. You were already in a transition. So you transitioned into your new teaching role, and then bam, coronavirus hits. And so you have to prepare to transition even further. We're going to get into that a little bit more in the show. So I put a pin on that. I'd like to give Dr. Jillian Whatley the opportunity to just give us a little bit of background information on her. And then Kanuri, we'll save the best for last, sweetie. So as soon as Dr. Whatley shares her insight, then we're going to hear from you, and you're going to tell the people who are watching a little bit of information about you. I got to read your bill, and you're a busy little bee. So I want the people to know all of the things that you do, Dr. Jillian Whatley.
Okay, well, awesome. I'm Dr. Whatley. I am a psychologist and adjunct professor at Georgia State University in the education department. I have a doctorate in leadership as well. So I do a lot of leadership development training through the Academy of Creative Coaching, where I'm an instructor and an implicit bias expert. So a lot of my work lands in the realm of implicit bias, diversity and inclusion, and also trauma with adolescents and children. And so I'm happy to be here. And I also have Kanuri here with me. It's my daughter.
Yay. Hi, Kanuri. Say hi to the world. The world is watching. They are excited to see you guys. And just so you all know, we have a comment section, and people are already blowing up the comments. So I think that our viewers are excited to have all of you here. Kanuri, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you?
Well, my name is Kanuri Whatley, and I'm in
You're a rising third grader.
I'm going to third grade, and
what do you like to do?
well, I really do like to go to art class and singing class,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes.
Beautiful. Well, welcome. Kanuri, we are super excited to have you. Normally on my show, I usually don't have kids on the show. So this is a very special episode for me. And you're actually, just by being on my show, you're teaching me a lot about how to keep my show going and how to change. So I just want to thank you for helping me learn from you already. And we haven't even gotten to hear that much from you, but I'm learning a lot from you already. So I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Whatley, for sharing your backgrounds. Like I said, you guys, this is a very powerful episode that we are embarking on. It's a very interesting topic, like I said, and I'd like to go ahead and dive in to some of the talk topics that we're going to engage in today. And I know that there's a lot to be said, and I know there's a lot of thought and insight. So we'll be respectful of one another's time, but I know that the people want to hear from you. I think a good place to start, Jasmine, you kind of just touched on your challenge as an educator. Tell me and tell the world and tell us all who are tuned in today about some of the challenges that you've experienced as an educator learning. What have some of your challenges looked like? How do you see your challenges maybe impacting some of your students?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been out of school since March, and I think that a lot of the parents have really struggled with keeping up with the curriculum. So instead of rolling out the entire curriculum that's mandated by the state, we decided to go with one curriculum across the board. So essentially, that one curriculum service students 6th, 7th, and 8th, and it was a choice board. So I mean, the only thing that I felt that it did is it really kept the kids engaged as far as like reading and writing, and it did touch upon a lot of the standards that we have here in Missouri. But the challenges were really keeping the kids engaged as far as turning in their work. And I mean, we probably had an average of maybe 70% participation. And when it came to Zoom and live calls, we were down to about 15%. So a lot of the students are, based on my opinion, they're really going to struggle coming in next year because there's going to be these major gaps. And I know it was a lot of concern for some of the parents, but a lot of these parents are essential workers. A lot of these parents have to go into work, and these students are left babysitting their siblings, and they're left with all the distractions that we find at home, and video games obviously is a big one. So really their work tremendously suffered, and their achievement suffered because as a result of that. So as a teacher, just trying to keep the students engaged and turning in assignments and giving feedback, I know a lot of the teachers were overwhelmed as well.
Do you hear pushback, or do you hear a game plan from your fellow faculty members in terms of helping to potentially maybe bridge that gap between now and next year? Is there a game plan? Are you guys having your children do summer school? Like I've heard some public schools in the state of Florida, and even here in the state of Georgia as well, are having the kids continue over the school year into the summer in order to help facilitate kind of closing and bridging that gap. Are there any conversations like that right now, or is there a game plan at all that you know of?
Not here in Missouri and Boone County, where we service our students. Once the school year ended, that was about it. The teachers are required to start learning how to do online teaching and learning, because next year the rollout is actually the students have an option, and parents have an option, whether they're going to be online 100% for the beginning of the school year, for at least the fall semester, or if they are going to be in seats. So there are going to be some teachers who kind of hang back and teach from home. And then there's going to be teachers actually at school teaching in person. So there's been a lot of kind of a rush to get these teachers trained for online teaching, and also creating an online curriculum that we're going to be using in classrooms and virtually.
Wow. Okay, so that's really interesting. I think I'm noticing, like, state to state, school district to school district, school to school, there are a lot of different adjustments, different approaches to kind of bridge that gap and to prepare students for the coming school year. Dr. Whatley, I'd actually like to pose my next question to you. So kind of back to the topic in which I talk about what prompted me to do today's episode. I am interested in hearing your thoughts on the lack of social interaction for the students who are currently enrolled in school and have already had the opportunity to be enrolled in school, but maybe even for the younger children, like my daughter, who would potentially be in daycare at this point. She's not able to daycare, and so her ability to socialize with other children at this point has been to a minimum. So can you share some insight on what you think about kind of lack of social interaction for the children, how that will potentially impact them, or maybe even on what that looks like right now?
Right. It's a huge concern for educators as well as for psychologists. That our children, I myself, I'm a parent, as you can see, and I at one point was very concerned about the lack of social interaction. I will say that for my daughter at her school, what they have done is all the students are on Zoom all day. So all of their classes are on Zoom. So they didn't lose any of that connectivity. However, in some other schools, like it's the schools that I work in, a lot of those kids didn't see their teachers or their friends. Now, what I have made sure to do is to have a discussion with her friends, parents, her close network of friends, to say, listen, if we want the girls to play together at the park, we all have to follow the quarantine rules. So if you want your child to socialize with my kid, then what makes me feel comfortable as a parent is knowing that you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. And then when we get together, there's minimal risk. So we've done play dates. We're going to do another play date this week with one of her friends, but they've been quarantining. We've been quarantining. And so that's cool. I am concerned for some of our children, like special needs children, like, for example, who are on the autism spectrum disorder, whether or not they're going to get that level of connection that they possibly need and can learn from. As time will unfold, we'll just have to see how that works out. I think this is all new to everybody. We did not expect this, and so we're trying to catch up. We're behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways. My hope is that, just as a parent, I hope these school districts roll out a plan soon enough so that parents can plan. I think for some districts they're ahead, but then for some districts they still haven't said anything, and they're proposing not saying anything until July, which I feel is too late. Particularly when you have working parents, you have to think about the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, some people are, some school districts are talking about hybrid models. Well, that sounds good, but a workplace doesn't have a hybrid model. So how does that work together when a parent has to go to work? And then, and then also for parents who have children in multiple grade levels. So if you're talking about elementary goes on this day, but then the middle goes on another day, parents have to be legit, work that out. And that requires logistics. So what I've expressed, even in my meetings, is that we need to kind of go ahead and roll out some type of plan for our families, because everybody's situation is different. And this is only going to work if you partner with a parent. You can create a plan all day long, but if the parents don't, I got a text message this morning, Mahogany, from one of my friends. She was like, listen, I'm thinking about hiring a homeschool teacher because I'm done. And I said, oh my goodness. And I never thought this person would say that. Like, that blew my mind.
Look, I'm an educator and I know what it's like trying to teach your own children at home. Like I'm trained and it's a struggle when it's your kid. So I hear that. I hear that.
I love that guys mentioning that. So for me, my own personal challenge with my daughter is, as I'm trying to transition back into normalcy, or what's now the new normal after having a baby. My daughter is 8 months old. And so we had our game plan for what transitioning would look like. At this point, there are no daycares open. Hiring a nanny was something that was a part of my plan before she came here. And now I'm not comfortable with the idea of a nanny because I don't know who's quarantining, who's not, who do I want to welcome into our home. And then I'm not comfortable sending her off into, anyone else's space because I don't know what they're doing there. So for me, I'm not homeschooling my daughter, but as I go to transition into getting back to business meetings and doing, even online virtual meetings and just still having that flexibility to be able to handle my business and get things done. I don't know what the support side of my family members who've been chipping in to help support right now. I don't know what that's going to look like in another month or 2 or 3. So that's my own challenge and struggle in that. Kanuri, I actually want to ask you a question. It's real important for us to talk about and to hear firsthand from the kids. We want to know how the kids are feeling. Do you miss your friends? Do you miss hanging out with your friends as much or not getting to see your friends in person like you were at school every day?
Well, kind of not and kind of I do because sometimes we do a Zoom meeting or a Google Duo or on the cell phone and then we just play a game or play something on the cell phone or go to the park and play together.
Okay, so now we're learning about social distancing. Social distancing is something that's brand new to us. A lot of us didn't know about social distancing, before March. That wasn't something that we talked about or had to do. Do you think that social distancing is hard? Is that been hard for you to do, or is it becoming easier as you practice it more?
Tell her about it. She said this Mahogany.
A little bit of both. I saw got you. I saw it. It's been a little bit, you know what? I admit, Kanuri, it's been a little bit tough for me too. Remembering to wear my mask if I go to the store, not getting to hug the people that I love. That's been really hard for me. So I'm sure the hard part about not seeing your friends every day at school is hard, but then now you see them every day on Zoom. So that's really fun. So you get to still see your friends on Zoom, right?
Yeah, but still, it's kind of hard because I'm used to going with over my cousins or traveling on the summer, and I can't do it now since we have to stay at home.
Yeah,
it's really tough. That's why we're talking about this. I want the world to know what you guys are really feeling like as children that are affected by this coronavirus. And it's been, like I said, it's been hard for all of us, but I know it's definitely been really hard for children. So I'm glad that you answered and you shared honestly. You're very brave for sharing your answer and being so honest, okay? I want you to know that. And it sounds like you're doing a great job on practicing your social distancing.
I think that Kanuri brings up a really I think that Kanuri brings up a really good point because when you're not able to travel,
I'm sorry to interject. Jasmine, please share.
Yeah, when you're not able to travel over the summer or get away, you think about even the idea of teacher burnout. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be in Michigan right now and be at our family lake house. But, not everyone gets that opportunity. So you have these teachers inside and these students inside. What happens when we come back at the end of August, and we have to get straight to it. I mean, you don't really feel like you've had that release that you need to be productive and a good educator or a fantastic student. So that's a really good point.
That is so true. Like, we built in, we're going to the mountains and, just building in small trips throughout the summer, nothing where it requires us to like be around a lot of people. And so we're doing a trip this weekend, you know what I mean? But it's got to be, it's not like what we would usually do, right?
So, absolutely, right.
It's just to break up some of the monotony and, get in a different space. Because to your point, we'll be going back to school in a minute. Like, it goes so quick. Like, we're so excited about the end of the school year, and then it just pops back up. And so we want to feel like we've had like a little relief in there. But I'm even thinking about, gosh, in October, maybe we need to take another trip. Like, maybe we need to go back to the cabin. You know what I mean? Just like building in mental breaks, because it has been so much for them and for the parents. Working at home has been a huge feat for a lot of us. I don't know what I would have done if her school wasn't so organized with the Zooms all day. And then I'm grateful to have my mom here. She helps fill in the gaps when she needs help. And I'm in a meeting. And sometimes my meetings go for 3 or 4 hours. And you can't leave a child unattended for 3 or 4 hours.
No.
Like, are you kidding me? So yeah, it all was like I remember.
Sure can't.
You sure can't, girl. So I remember the first 2 weeks of COVID when we left school, I was like, wow, this is different. You think you're a multitasker, but this is some real multitasking. She's talking about her. Yeah, she said the first 2 weeks she couldn't go with her father. So her father and I, we co-parent. And so we had to stop that, for a minute. Yeah. So talk about that. You want?
Yeah. So now, right now, mommy doesn't pack my clothes. She just packs the important stuff.
So we came up with some rules. We don't transport things between houses anymore. She only goes with her little book bag when she goes every other weekend. And then before she comes back, he washes the outfit that she wears, and that's how she comes back. But we've cut down on just a lot of transferring between houses. That's been eliminated. So if it's over there, it stays there.
Wow. It's really interesting it's really interesting to hear about the co-parenting dynamic. I've seen kind of some of the celebrities, couples, and sharing their experiences and really having some challenges between the parents in terms of setting those boundaries and those guidelines and coming up with something that's reasonable and conducive and fair for all parties involved. Yeah. So I think that it's a true positive to hear that you and your family have figured out a plan that's functionable and works for everyone, where Kanuri can still see her dad and she doesn't see her dad, but we're making sure that we're safe in this. So I love you guys actually have like a solid game plan.
Thank you.
For your family.
Thank you.
We're at a point in the episode I actually want to dive in a little bit deeper. And so absolutely. So in doing my research in preparation for today's episode, like I said, a lot of the information on the internet was just kind of catered more so to the impact on everyone on just a kind of general scale, as opposed to really focusing on the impact of coronavirus on our youth. And so I came across something that was really interesting. This article that was published in the BBC, it talks about what's called a open letter, a recovery plan founded on mental health for children. So in the United Kingdom, from a political and from a social sphere, they're already having conversations and talking about a recovery plan specifically centered around the mental health impact of our children. And so I want to point out the statistics that I came across in this particular article. Article reads that 1 in 8 children and young people has a diagnosable mental health condition, and research suggests that the majority of those believe that the pressure created by the crisis are exacerbating their needs. So what that's talking about is even before coronavirus, there are already 1 in 8 children struggling with mental health illnesses or issues. And so the United Kingdom recognizes that this is already a challenge with coronavirus. And then when you add the extra additional level of coronavirus on top of it, they recognize that there are challenges ahead. And I don't see necessarily our government really talking about that here in the United States just yet. But when we talk about some of those challenges, we're talking about children suffering from anxiety because of being afraid of what the virus may do to them or harm their family member. We're talking about dealing with the stress of not being able to be around their peers. We talk about also the fear that the children have to live with if coronavirus may impact a loved one that they care about or their home. And so, Dr. Whatley, I would love to hear from you because, you know, of course, this is your area of specialty. Mm-hmm. I would love to hear your thoughts on already with mental health challenges already being kind of very rampant in our youth. What your thoughts are about what could potentially be a part of a plan or considerations that we may need to take in terms real health checks on our children as they deal with the global pandemic at hand.
Yeah, I think it's really important that let's just first say this. We already had a mental health issue in our society off top, and throw in the quarantine and throwing in, you know, the racial stuff that's going on. Yeah. I'm hoping that schools are having conversations about how they're going to re-enter not only physically, but emotionally. So for example, like at Kanuri School, I sit on the continuous improvement plan team as a parent, and they've already reached out to me to be a part of those conversations, but they're already thinking about being very intentional about supporting kids social emotionally, like having groups, having check-ins more regularly, more frequently. Those are things that we need to think about as well. I did some research, and one thing that I found out was that post-quarantine anxiety and depression is to be expected to go up, right? When this quarantine first started and the COVID first landed, Dr. Fossey was very serious. He said, this is going to start out as a physical issue, and it's going to very quickly end up being a mental issue. The reason being is because we have people that are being segregated within their homes and the confines of their homes. Some people who live by themselves, they are not seeing people. You know, I have a friend, she lives alone, so I have to go and check on her to make sure she's okay. But we do that very safely. And so a lot of people who have those risk factors prior to, I am definitely concerned about them during this time. But I would encourage people to reach out to their medical providers. There are tons of people like therapists who are offering free mental health services during this time at no cost. Someone for you to talk to and express yourself with. Another thing is, as parents, we've got to recognize that when we've had enough and we're doing too much. And I'll put myself out here. I had put my daughter in a few camps this summer, and I had to take a step back and say that I had her in too many camps. Okay. Yep. She said that I had her in too many camps. And I actually took her out of some because I'm so used to taking her to a physical camp that I thought she had to do something all day, every day. I didn't realize that, you know, mommy made a boo-boo, right? And I had to apologize for that and take her out of one camp so she won't feel so overwhelmed.
She kept on apologizing.
She said I kept on apologizing. I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought this is how y'all do it. I don't know. You know, I'm
unprecedented times, you know.
Right. I don't know anything about this camp. I'm just signing you up. I thought you wanted to be in one every hour because I thought that's what you do when you go to the camp. I don't know what it's like. I just sign you up. So I didn't realize it, and I had to take some things back. And I was very apologetic to her because I was like, I don't want you to feel like I'm bombarding you and stressing you out. But she spoke up for herself.
Right. It's so funny. Look, was going to point out the fact that she was able to connect. And I'd like to believe the room and the guys have probably you guys have more time now to.
Yes.
Other, right, Dr. Whatley? So I imagine that space has allowed her to be like, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is not how I'm feeling. Is that true? I'm guessing that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we have a really good relationship. Like,
yes,
it's super good. And so prior to COVID, Nuri will take me in the bathroom and just sit me down and talk about her feelings about anything. And we're open with that. But like now, like I tell her, I'm like, if it's something that you don't want to do, you don't feel like doing, you let me know. You know what I mean? And we'll work through it. I said, because my whole thing is about you being healthy, you know? And do you feel like how do you feel?
I feel
like when we talk about your feelings, like, does that make you feel good or how bad? I mean, what do you think?
normal.
Makes you feel normal.
No, yeah. I love that because I mean,
it makes you feel
my
normal.
7-year-old, I always have to do kind of, you know, just a check-in, just to see how she's emotionally. She uses her screen. She loves this game Roblox. I'm sure you. Yeah. And just think about like all the things that can happen online. I mean, with like kind of the bullying and all of that stuff. So to kind of like check in and, you know, just make sure our kids are doing okay mentally and emotionally is really a big deal. Yeah, but I know I've become her best friend in a lot of ways. Like I've had to learn how to play Roblox and I've had to jump into the lake, right, with my boogie board to kind of just engage, to have some kind of normalcy.
Exactly. I have an avatar on Roblox, so I'll have to link you up. To get us in contact because I'm the mama that's walking around with that crazy purse. They have to dress me up a little bit better.
Bumping into walls.
She said I'm bumping into walls and stuff.
It's different from like when we used to play games.
Yeah, it's
different. Yeah. So.
Look, my nephew has showed me Minecraft like 1,000,008 times, and bless his little heart, my old lady brain cannot round the hype and the crazy and the excitement of the Minecraft. He then showed me 1,000,000 times, and I personally just don't get it. So I salute all of the children for engaging in these new, truly mind games. So these kids, their works totally different than brains works when we were playing. We used to play girl talk and our board games, and we thought we were doing something. These kids are like taking it a whole other level up.
Yeah, come on, Auntie, you got to get hip. But one thing that I think is really important.
I'm trying to catch up. I got to get like you, ladies. So maybe I'll make an avatar. I'll join the Roadblock squad, and then all three of us moms can link up with the kiddies and work out the Roadblock situation. So I'll make that happen.
Yeah, okay, good.
Roadblock skin, it doesn't look good.
I mean, but
yeah, go on.
These kids, they're really into their video games. So, you know, I really try to push the idea of like having some kind of educational game on the screen to at least like kind of keep some of that COVID slide away, because, you know, these students, they're projecting that in English, they're going to be losing 30% of what they learned from the school year. In math, it's about 50%. So, you know, just to support our students and our kids through this time is, you know, is going to be interesting if you're not, you know, giving them some kind of like educational supplementation throughout the summer.
Exactly.
I want to take it to some of the comments. I just want you guys to hear some of the comments. Kanuri, you are a fan favorite right now, girl. The comments, they are loving you in the comment section. Shout out to Heidi Flyucci. Heidi says, our children are our future, each and every one. And baby girl is so beautiful. So thank you, Heidi. Kanuri, they're saying you're beautiful and you're so smart.
Oh, she's in the chat box. She just clicked to the chat box, so she's reading them.
Of course, she knows how to get to them.
You guys, you have to engage in our chat. So please do. Our viewers love to engage and connect in the comment section. So you guys go ahead if you want to reach out or Dr. Whatley, or Ms. Bourdeau-Stodghill, you guys have the opportunity to do so in the comment section as well. If you guys want to ask me anything, share your thoughts, 2 cents, and insight, please get at us in the comment section. You guys know I love to hear from you. I love the engagement. If you're joining, you are tuned into the Mahogany Stylez experience. Welcome to my corner pocket of the universe. We are talking the impact of coronavirus on our youth. We've got Dr. Jillian Whatley. We've got Kanuri Fowler joining us. We've got Jasmine Bourdeau-Stodghill joining us with some great insight. And we've already talked kind of mental health, changes for our youth, how they're having to adjust. And one thing that we haven't gotten the opportunity to discuss just yet, Jasmine and Dr. Whatley, is kind of the older children. So we've kind of spent a bit of time focusing on the younger. But one thing that I want to mention, even I'll use my cousin, for example, and let me just go ahead and do a shameless plug for my cousin right now. I'm so very proud of her. Lydia Blair, shout out to you for graduating high school. You were able to make it through your track scholarships. We are so proud to see you move on to new chapters, enter into that next stage of college, and to do so seamlessly in the midst of a global pandemic. She didn't even flash or miss a beat. And so what I'm noticing is that our older children are missing out, or they're having to adjust to some of what's supposed to be these milestone moments. They've been planning and thinking and fantasizing their whole entire what will look like, about what prom will look like, walking across that stage and graduating, whether that's graduating elementary school, graduating high school, graduating college. And so we've had to get, really adaptable. Dr. Whatley, how do you think that is impacting the older children on their milestones, their ability to have to be so flexible and adaptable? Is it good that they are adapting accordingly, or are they missing out on something? Will that affect them later on down the road?
Right. I think that one thing is they're going to have the same symptoms that younger children or the adults experience, because humans are definitely humans. So the anxiety, the depression, that all is going to cut across the developmental milestones or the scope of development. However, I think that we are so ritual-based in our American culture that we have held to them so tightly, and that now we're being forced to find new rituals. And so this is a great opportunity. I think that parents have to show that they're flexible, right? And the children are going to defer to us as the model. So, for example, my mom, she grew up in Birmingham, Alabama during civil rights. And she said there were some things that they could do and certain things they couldn't do. So this isn't the first time, right, for our people where we have not been able to do something. This is just the first for the millennials and the up and coming people. But this is, it's a great time to teach them about sacrifice, right? I think that the rituals are secondary, because are these really our rituals? Or are these American cultural rituals? So we've got to find ourselves in the midst of this. And so I challenge people to kind of talk to, and I've even talked to some seniors about this, like, what are you learning about yourself in this moment? You know what I mean? What if graduations never come back? We never come back to that. So we've got to figure out something else to do to celebrate ourselves. And the celebration is actually in the being done. That's just icing on the cake.
Yes.
We're so accustomed to the icing on the cake that we think that's normal. And for some of us, it is normal. But some people have never had that and didn't have it at all, or couldn't afford to walk across a graduation or go to a prom, right? This is truly
Yes.
This is truly a time where everybody is literally in the same boat. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much everybody is in the same boat in terms of what we can do right now. There's only a small, so much that you can't do. So, I think that for parents who are, parenting older children, like high school and college students, really try to put a new spin on this thing. Because, to be quite frankly honest, with the racial tensions and what's going on in our society right now, we are not out of the woods by no means yet. COVID just slowed us down so we can see some stuff. Right? And it's continuing to slow us down so we can see some stuff. So there's some other things left to be seen.
I think, Dr. Whatley, you bring up a slew of amazing points, and I didn't mean to interject. It's just I was co-signing all of the great thoughts that you were making as you brought up all of these great points. One thing that I want to also point out and kind of just piggyback off of what you just said, what I'm noticing across the board, and definitely in our community, right? In the Brown community, I'm noticing this very heavily. I am seeing such a level of creativity about how we are changeables, how we are putting our own cultural spin on our rituals. For example, I saw one girl, she got to walk across her graduation stage in her front yard, and her family hired a jazz saxophonist to do the Afrobeat Joanna song. And so she got to walk across on her prom stage, Afrobeat Joanna song that was like super popular this year. And we know that if she had walked across the stage at school in a traditional sense, she wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. So I see us putting our creative spin on all of these things, and that is very exciting for us to see. And it's awesome to see us taking our own cultural roots and pulling that into what you said are some of the classic American cultural standards that we're used to from a traditional standpoint. So that's really interesting, and that's the positive that I also wanted to throw out there, that I'm excited to see. I like to get on the internet and see what new creative spins people are doing. I saw one little boy, he was doing break dancing, and he did his whole little TikTok video set up in order to announce that he had walked across the graduation stage. So I'm seeing so many cool things, and it's really exciting for me to see that. And I love seeing us be creative, and I love seeing us taking the positives from what has been a challenge and kind of been, somewhat of a negative thing for us to deal with and to overcome. So I'm loving it. We comments, and then I'm going to change gears. Beauties are doing some phenomenal things out in the world, and I want to give you guys some room to discuss that as well.
Awesome.
Jasmine, I'm gonna throw this over to you. I haven't heard from you in a little second, so I'm gonna throw this over to you. In the wake of COVID, you've gotten the opportunity to work on a brand new project. You and I have kind of chopped it up a little bit, but I want you to share with the world what you're working on in terms of this Black Travel Project. Tell us what this Black Travel Project is, what's going on, how does this impact anything? And then it looks like we also have a special addition to our show as well. Jasmine, before I pull you into the equation to talk about your Black Travel, I want to introduce one more guest, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to share her 2 cents really quick. Stream, you guys, my other best friend, near to my heart. I am so blessed to not only be the daughter of an educator, my name's Educator. I'm blessed, and I learned so much, so in tune to what's going on in the education system, because both of my best friends are phenomenal teachers, phenomenal Brown teachers, and I love celebrating both of my best friends as educators every opportunity that I get. So I would to our show today, joining us really quick from New York, Romaine Price, who is also an educator.
Hi guys.
So from the live stream, I'm going to let her sense, and then I'm going to let Jasmine Farrow to the Black Travel Project as well. Hi, Romaine. Welcome.
Hi, Mahogany. How are you? Hi, Jasmine. And who's the other?
How are you?
I'm trying to get the
How are you, Romaine? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me or see me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you okay.
All right, good. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. How's everybody? What were you guys talking about? Let me jump in.
We can see you perfectly, beautiful. Welcome. Yes.
Beautiful. I have a couple of minutes.
We're spending today just chatting really quick. We are today just chatting about coronavirus and the impact of coronavirus on our youth. And I know you don't have long. I would love to hear just your insight about what changes you have had to deal with as an educator, or how you see your children being impacted by coronavirus.
Well, as an educator, unfortunately, New York City Department of Education was not prepared for anything like this. And that's very unfortunate because we had to relearn what teaching is. We had to readjust. We had to adapt very quickly. They actually gave us 3 days to get it together and get it right. And it was a learning process along the way. It was, you needed a lot of patience with yourself, with your students, your families. I think it impacted, as far as my students are involved, I just think that when this is over, coming back into the classroom is going to be a big adjustment. On top of just Corona, they see what's going on in the media with the climate, Black culture, and what's happening to our people. So I think there's going to be layers of underlining emotional trauma adjustment coming back into the classroom that I will deal with my kids when I get there. As far as, working with them day to day, again, it was just every day was a new adventure with it. Every day we got another result, it wasn't consistent. And you just have to be understanding that this is new for everybody. So I think now that the end of the year is wrapping up, I think, looking back on the last 3-4 months, I think we did well. We did the best that we could. And hopefully moving forward, things will get better. So that's about it with that. Kita's frozen. There you are.
Thank you so much. I think that's just a celebration of kind of some of the things that we talked about on today's episode. Jasmine, I haven't forgotten you. We will talk about the Black Travel Project in just a moment. I'd like Dr. Watt to talk about their project. Dr. Whatley, if you and Kanuri, both of you guys are authors, and I would love you guys to give you guys the opportunity to talk about, Dr. Whatley, your book, Letters to Our Daughters. And I would also like to give Kanuri just a couple of minutes to talk about her book, Awesome Girl Book.
Well, yes, my book is lessons. It's actually lessons for our daughters. And I it's crazy because I was initially going to start it with letters, but then I said lessons. So this book was based loosely on my experience with a relationship. And I subsequently interviewed a couple of women who had lost relationships or had struggles in their life. And I paralleled them very closely to women in the Bible. And then at the end of each chapter, there's an activity for a woman to do with herself or even her daughter. And so some chapters, one is on masking, how we all mask, right? Another one is on wisdom. And so I encourage people to grab the book. It's called Lessons for Our Daughters. It's on Amazon. It was one of the #1 bestsellers on Amazon for Christian counseling in October 2019. And so I'm super excited. I do have some children's books coming out in the future that I'm working on. So one of my first books will be on grief for children. So I think it's very timely for where we are right now. And then Kanuri was a co-author in a book. You want to hold your book up?
Now, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
She co-authored a book called Awesome Girls, and she wrote what an awesome girl is like for her. You want to talk a little bit about what does it mean to be awesome? Just tell about yourself. What makes you awesome? Smile.
They help the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. I'm listening.
And at my school, I got open-minded award because I can think open-minded.
Okay. Beautiful. That's beautiful.
And where can we find Kanuri's book?
Kanuri's book is also on Amazon.
Yes.
And if you would like to order one for me, I think it's cute because there's a lot of different girls in here. It's good. Some of the teachers at my school ordered it for their girls in their class and they read and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. And I can get the information also from there if you want to order them from her to Mahogany as well. So I can do that on Amazon or from her personally. So yeah.
Beautiful. Looking forward to reading that.
Okay, well, Dr. Whatley, I have your website is actually at the bottom of the screen, scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. So you guys can keep in touch and keep up on the latest updates, Dr. Whatley, via her website. I've also got her Instagram and her LinkedIn handle across the bottom of the banner on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
The description section, I will be leaving the information for the Amazon link for both her book, Lessons to Our Daughters, which Dr. Whatley, now that you've dived in and based on my own experience with relationships in my life, I probably could write the sequel for you. Absolutely going to dive into your book this week. And I will be doing the same for Kanuri. And Kanuri, I'll dive into your book, and I'm also going to share Kanuri's book with my daughter as well. So I want to start planting these seeds for my 8-month-old daughter from starting right now. And you're setting the tone for her by letting her, every other girl in the world, know what an awesome girl is. So I'm going to make sure I also include your Amazon link in the description as well. You guys, please support my guests, support their projects. I cannot stress enough. These are Black women out here, and a Black young lady who is winning in the world, spreading positive energy, sprinkling their seeds of greatness all over our world. We must support them. Dr. Whatley, I know you and Kanuri have to get out of here, so I appreciate you so much for joining us. Kanuri, you were amazing. You
Keep
are
going, Mama.
You're the star. They're still buzzing back in the comment section. Dr. Whatley, thank you so much for sharing your insight, and we appreciated having you guys so very much.
Thank you so much, and have me back anytime.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Okay, see you later.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.
I would take you up on that offer. Bye. All right, and so we're here with two of my favorite educators in the entire world. Two of my favorite women. I love them so much, and I am just glad that I get the opportunity. I spend a lot of time talking with both of these women about what my insights are on the outside of education looking in, but they often make me feel very much a part of the educational sphere. I never felt like I had the skills to necessarily be an educator. I know that I've impacted children in a lot of different ways where I am useful in terms of my skills and my gifts that God has given me. But being connected to these two gives me the opportunity to really stay in touch with what is going on in education. And so, again, I'm just so pleased and so honored to have both of you guys here on the show joining me. Episode 6, and I get to spend episode with my two best friends. Maine, I want to ask you kind of challenges, and then I'm going to give, I know you've got to just kind of share a couple more 2 cents, and then I'm going to fling it back to as travel.
Okay.
But Maine, what do you have lined up for yourself in terms of stepping into the next year to be as prepared and equipped? How are you planning to make sure that you're in a good space to provide your students with the best version of yourself after dealing with all of this stuff from this year?
I mean, it's a lot of self-reflection during this time being home of what worked and what didn't work. Playing around with whatever techniques as far as like strategies with my students that worked. How did they respond to certain things that I tried? Because again, like I don't have my resources that I have at school. So I had to be inventive and just seeing what worked and how my students responded and just taking that, carrying that over. Hopefully we get back in September and just working it the best way I know how. I mean, again, like it's all about patience and adjustment. And I've been saying this since the beginning of this whole pandemic, day by day. I don't want to think about things too much ahead of time, too far ahead of time where I'm worrying, giving myself anxiety. I take it day by day. What's going to work, whatever emotional support I need to give my students that day when we get back, then I provide it, let it come out that day, whatever educational strategies, instructional strategies they need for that day, I put it out that day and just really take it day by day until we get back to normalcy, whenever that might be. But that's how I've been dealing with it. So hopefully in September, I know they've been talking about, what's September going to look like? What's the new year going to look like in fiscal? And it's scary. I mean, We have to alternate days. We have to alternate weeks with students. We can only have half the number of kids in the school. We have to keep a distance. We have to take all these, health precautions as far as masks and, so it's going to be an adjustment, and it will work. It will work. So just keeping positive as possible.
Yeah, and I think I've found that
I one day at a time approach. I found that one day at a time approach has been working for me.
Yes.
It's the best you can do right now. We don't know, what to expect. And there's so much changes going on day, every single day. And so for me, just be present in the moment and what can I get done today? What am I in control of today? How can I be the best version of myself today, dealing with the circumstances? I love the fact that you share that approach. So thank you for that. Romaine, I'm going to let you get out of here, but share with the people where they can find you, where they can connect with you. Let them know where they can find you at, if online, your social media, whatever you'd like to share.
Yeah, so social media, both my Instagram, I'm an Instagram girl, so I'll just give my Instagram. It's I am Miss Price, so that's IAMMSPRICE. That's my Instagram, and you can also find me on Facebook. My first name is Romaine, just like the lettuce, ROMAINE. Last name Price, PRICE. And I frequent Instagram and Facebook. That's my form of keeping up with the media, keeping up with what's going on, and just being as proactive and aware and helpful as much as possible in this time. So you can find me on those two platforms. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having me. I would stay longer. I'm in between meetings and stuff, so I'm popping in. Jasmine, I will look forward to, I don't know if this is recorded, Mahogany, but if it is, I will look forward to hearing about your travel ventures and your business and stuff, okay? But I'm sorry to pop out.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yes, I appreciate it.
No,
be safe and be well. Say it again, Mahogany.
We love you so much. We're going to let you go back to doing your teacher thing and holding down our children.
Yes, I love you too. Thank you.
And
yes, and so it's just you and I moving and grooving, my love. Absolutely. So you got the opportunity to share this new project and this venture that coronavirus has allowed you to embark on. I've seen so many people finally doing projects that they've been thinking about for forever. I've seen people get innovative and start new projects in this time. And so I'm excited. Of course, you know that I am a travel agency owner. So I was extremely excited to hear that you were embarking on Black travel. I'm very much a supporter of Black people stamping up their passports as much and as often as possible. So tell us what's going on with this Black travel project, please.
I mean, it's a really interesting time. I mean, when you think about the intersection between, just the virtual space that we're living in right now and kind of telling our own stories about, what we're doing and kind of doing a revisionist history around everything that we've been, involved in. Detour Best Stories in Black Travel is going to be really influential and important during this time. It's a nonprofit where we train Black and Brown journalists to be travel writers. And in so doing, we have the opportunity to tell our stories from our own perspectives, right? It's a multimedia platform, and it's devoted to being the ultimate online and experiential destination. Where you'll find superior reporting on these sites from our vantage point. You'll find original music. You'll find a VR experience. Because come on, if we're not able to travel right now, we have to be able to engage in some kind of a way. So that's what we're interested in doing. And we're also interested in launching a voluntourism program where you're able to really have an immersive experience wherever you end up going. So that's what we're doing right now. We're really focused on the revisionist history, our revisionist history, just telling the stories and our history from our own vantage point.
I love that. For those of you guys who do not know already, you guys can follow Forever Escapes Travel Co. on Instagram, and I will also share that in the description section. That is that is my travel agency. And like I said, I'm very much a supporter of educating Black and Brown people on the importance and the value and the lifetime added values of traveling as a Black working person and getting exposed to other cultures, other foods, other cultural rituals. And things that we do not get exposed to enough in our community. So to have this multimedia platform that Jasmine is rolling out, I think that's only going to add to the benefits of educating Black and Brown people on the importance of travel. So Jasmine, we are so excited. Do we have a website address that we can share yet or no?
Coming soon. You'll know. That's for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Coming soon. Well, Jasmine, I am going to let you run. I know that you're busy being a mom and multitasking and trying to, make it all happen and figure it out. You're working on your Black travel project. You are working on some renovations, I know right now. So I appreciate you just taking the hop on the show today, share your insight. You know very much that I value your opinion. If I haven't told you that enough to your face, let me tell it to the entire world. I value your opinion. I learned so much from you, and this wouldn't have been the episode without you being present on the episode. So I thank you so much for sharing and spending the time with me. Oh, and before we go, shout out to my lovely, beautiful Aaliyah. We didn't see her. I know she's busy running around there. We're making music or working on her own project. But Aaliyah, Auntie loves you so much. And I hope after COVID-19 dies down a little bit, we'll get to see you soon. I can't wait to help you work on some music and see what new stuff that you have working on. So Aaliyah, I love you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I think that it was really engaging and informative. And, we love you for doing what you do. So keep on, rocking it.
Girl, I will not stop. I ain't stopping no time soon, honey. COVID has me turning up as well. So I'm excited to be kind of using this time to be fruitful.
I hear you, baby.
All right, love. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. I love you.
All right. Love you back.
All right. This has been such a moving and powerful episode of the Mahogany Stylez experience. Before your girl gets out of here, I've got a couple of major announcements. There is so much going on in the world of everything Mahogany Stylez. And so I can't let the episode roll past without keeping you guys abreast of everything that's going on. In case you guys missed it, yesterday I dropped a brand new video right here on my YouTube channel. You guys, please do check out the back activated video that dropped yesterday. That's giving you an inside sneak peek to my brand new single that I'll be dropping really soon called Dirty Low. And also is an inside take to my most recent in-studio session, as well as a quick little interview as well. So I'm inviting you guys to, after you've checked out this live stream, I'm inviting you guys to hop over to the back activated video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, or like and share the back activated video. And if you guys haven't already, just make sure you subscribe to my channel so you guys can stay tuned and keep abreast of everything that is Mahogany Stylez related. I've got so much new content that I'm rolling out and keeping you guys engaged with. And then speaking of new content, I need to make another announcement starting this Sunday, June 28th. I've got a brand new show called Sunday Fun Day Mix Show with Mahogany Stylez. And that will be live streamed here on my YouTube channel, but will be syndicated on my Street Madness radio platform. You guys, I'll give instructions on how you can download the app and tune in and catch me every single Sunday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on the first episode. I've got rapper, songwriter, and artist consultant, a plug named Pablo, coming through, one of my good friends and good affiliates affiliates here in the entertainment network. And so I'm excited to have a plug named Pablo come through on the Sunday Funday Mix Show, again, starting this Sunday, June 28th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then you guys can catch me every single Sunday right here on my live stream or rocking with my Street Madness Radio family. So shout out to everybody over at Street Madness Radio. Super excited to join the platform. Can't wait to see you guys. And then for those of you guys also who've been supporting me and supporting the brand, right now we are still lit on the Maxim Cover Girl contest. So you guys can continue to vote for me. Again, I am spreading the word and spreading awareness on why Black models need more covers in mainstream media. So please continue to support. I'm trying to make it to top 5, comfortably riding in the top 10 wave. And so in order to make it to that top 5 spot, I need you guys to continue to support me. And the way that you can support me is by visiting the link that is in my description section and placing your free daily votes for me. That means you can vote for me every single day for free, or you can support me by purchasing warrior votes. And your warrior votes not only go towards supporting me and helping me win the contest, and helping me at a shot at $25,000 and my chance on Maxim Magazine's cover. It's also giving me the opportunity to spread awareness on my campaign, hashtag Black Models Need More Covers, as well as you guys get the opportunity to support Jared's Home for Wounded Warriors, which supports disabled living for our vets. So our vets are very important to us, especially our disabled vets. We want to make sure that we support them. So by purchasing warrior votes, not only are you guys supporting me, my brands, the Black Girl, hashtag Black Models Need More Covers campaign, you are also supporting our disabled vets as well. And then lastly, that's it. I've shared with you guys everything I have going on. Like I said, it's a lot going on in everything Mahogany Stylez. You guys stay tuned. I've got new music dropping. And again, this is the Mahogany Stylez Experience. I do this each and every Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on my YouTube live stream. And then again, every Thursday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This coming Thursday, we have the legendary choreographer, dancer, mompreneur joining us for the conclusion on Motherhood with Mahogany Stylez, which has been my 3-part series on everything motherhood. And so Vanessa J. Barton will be joining us this Thursday. You guys make sure you tune in, don't miss. And again, if you guys like what I have going on here, this is a completely self-funded show. I invest to make sure that I bring you guys the dopest in everything that is the Mahogany Stylez Experience. You guys can support me and support the channel by making a donation and sending a donation to TMSE Experience, as in, the Mahogany Stylez Experience on Cash App. And if you're interested in sponsoring a segment of the show or the entire show or becoming a guest on our show, shoot us an email and we'll make sure that we make it happen. This is a great platform for you to gain brand exposure, let the people know about everything that is dope and awesome about what you have going on right here on the Mahogany Stylez Experience. Welcome to my corner pocket of the universe. Thank you for watching. Be peace, love, and light, and just walk in boldness. Live your truth, as I always say. And thank you guys for rocking. It's been so real. Cheers. And shouts out to the youth.